Okay, in this session, I'm going to lecture about what I mean by a software-based behavioral research method, measurement, and data science. Why I'm choosing this field of study. Uh, as you can see in the table of contents that I provided here, I'm just splitting research methods in the three traditional ways of quantitative methods, the qualitative methods, and the mixed research methodology. Why software-based? Because every kind of analysis, uh, either quantitative or qualitative, need using and applying software. Even in qualitative research methods, you do need to use softwares like Atlas TI, MaxQDA, NVivo, and so many other QDA computer-based uh, qualitative data analysis, because there are things that either in quantitative or qualitative methods you cannot do using the using hands or using just traditional methods of using Excel or notes or something like this.
Among these devices, softwares that you mentioned for qualitative studies, which one is better equipped for transcription?
I use Atlas TI for Atlas TI software for all of it. It's not computer software for qualitative data analysis are not limited to a qualitative design. All of the designs can use a software, a qualitative data analysis software to analyze the data. But as we have some communalities for doing qualitative data analysis, you can do the analysis in that software. There are so many actually gadgets, menus, and different tabs for analysis in this software that you can actually implement the QDA or qualitative data analysis in the software, like Atlas. I do like Atlas DI because the way that this software handles different languages, including Persian, Arabic, or other languages, are provided in this software. So we use Atlas CI, but some other software like NVivo are so popular in QDA. Yes, for example, if you want to use NVivo, uh, some versions of NVivo do not support the Persian language. So as I queried about a software that handle Arabic or Persian language, they in NVivo forum they just did recommend me to use Atlas TI for Arabic and Persian languages.
Does it distinguish the voices, especially as we are working, as we are dealing with classroom context, as we record the audio? So it is very important to distinguish between the voice of student A and the student B. Does it work with the
it is the things that you are telling is about AI. AI languages or AI tools that are provided in um, QDA software are just support English language, not Persian language, because there are some NLP algorithms that just provided and developed for English language, not for uh, Persian language. But as the software can analyze images, videos, voices, you do coding by yourself, as you know that the main topic of qualitative data analysis is about using your judgment for uh, detecting and uncovering codes and themes in the uh, qualitative data. So you can analyze videos, voices, images, and do the coding by yourself. But the things that you say is about voice recognition method, that is about AI. Yes, yes, yes. They do for English language. AI tools for voice recognition is highly developed for English languages, but doing the same for Persian or Arabic or other languages required that AI scientists provide and develop the algorithms, the NLP, natural language processing algorithms to analyze the different languages other than English. So
Persian is not the main concern because we are dealing with English-speaking students, but the point is that because we are non-native speakers of English, their accent is not very accurate. So
they, yes.
Yeah, this is the main concern.
The main concern is that the AI tools may be inaccurate to recognize the voices because because of the pronunciations and things. These are this may be more cumbersome for this case.
Can we go through some of these sections?
Uh, in the quantitative methods, we have experimental methods and uh, the non-experimental methods. I do split these uh, methods in quantitative methods because I prefer that this way because in actually non-experimental methods there are different variations for naming non-experimental design in different fields. For example, in the fields of statistics, they just prefer to say survey design. They just say the experimentation design, the experimental design, and the survey design, and they just they are not going to split the non-experimental design as is divided in human sciences like correlation or survey correlation methods or something like post facto or some kind of variation that is just recognized in human or behavioral sciences. So in non-experimental design, I just uh, recommend you a different division for research design, as I say later. In experimental design, at first in experimental methods, I just split the experimental methods in two major divisions for experimental group methods when we are dealing with groups of examinees or respondents or clients or whatever you call them according to your problem statement, and the single subject design. Uh, experimental methods use the uh, sampling methods, the statistical probabilistic sampling methods for experimental design, and they and other than the sampling method, they just use some power analysis for determining and calculating the sample size for each group of experimental and control design. There are some.
What does ABA result stands for ABA? What does
It's just the phases in a time. ABA is phases for time. A is the treatment, pre-treat, the baseline, the treatment, and the post-treatment phase. These are just the name for the phases that I'm going to say. Uh, in the experimental methods, I just uh, provided you with some um, popular experimental design like pre-test, post-test design with control groups.
So this is actually the
Using
book you're going to
SPSS.
publish. This is actually the book you're going to publish.
Yes, it's a booklet or a book.
So how can we have access to it?
When it is published, you will be aware that it is published. I'm going to inform you when ASAP it is published. And the other is the pre-test, post-test design with follow-up with control groups. Is actually the extension of the pre-test, post-test design with adding the follow-up phase. It's actually for repeated measures. I actually follow up. Follow up. Follow up means that after a while that you implemented the treatment, a time lag. After a time lag, um, uh, you measure again the dependent variable to find out what is the status of the dependent variable after
For
you.
example, vocabulary acquisition or vocabulary retention after 1 period, after 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Follow up. That is follow up. It's a dependent variable. For example, you say that vocabulary retention. You have a teaching method that you actually implemented in the experimental method. You uh, actually the treatment is done on the experimental group. Uh, After, for example, you, before that you had a measurement that is a pre-test before you actually uh, teach for example, the ways that helps students for vocabulary retention. You have a pre-test before the teaching. After the teaching, for the control group, you have the post-test. And follow-up is actually done after a while, a time lag. After a time lag to find out how persistent is the treatment for the experimental group, and the control group is just a control and just without the treatment, and the measures just for the control group are gathered for comparing the means of the experimental group compared to the control group.
About the timeline, I think you could find those timelines in cross-line studies. I did a study, it was cross-line.
Mhm.
And we investigated the effect of anxiety and enjoyment
Mhm.
on engagement.
Mhm.
Among two timelines, first this month and the other one was 6 months later.
Yes.
And we found out that anxiety has more long-standing effects than enjoyment.
Yes. Yes. It is.
It's not all about the experimental, it could be a survey research.
Yes, you can do this through surveys, but we have longitudinal data analysis that helps you to do the investigations for the repeated measures designed for some even structure equation modeling. So the time lags and the follow-up is actually for investigation investigation of the preservation of, for example, the learning for students after uh, the treatment has done before, for example, after a week or a logical period of time. The single subject, I just, as I said, we do all of these methods using software. I do recommend the experimental group methods using SPSS because it's so user friendly and you can do the analysis with uh, different menus that
And
easily done through the research.
do they come with videos or no, just content?
Uh,
Is it just a
there
book
are
or
so
you
many
willing
videos.
to talk about them and illustrate on these content? To have some videos for some.
Yes, there are educational videos that are provided with you, and you can look at my channel or my
Perfect.
resources to find out how to use the SPSS for experimentation with different design or in other methods like survey that I recommend. I also recommend SPSS for that.
So you want to introduce some new videos, or no,
Yes,
just introduce the previous ones in that package.
there are some videos that is available. You can refer to them, and there are some other videos that will be provided with you through the channels or other ways that is provided with you. So
Very good.
don't worry about educational videos. The educational videos will be available ASAP that developed for you.
Can we go on through the symbols, just the section of structural equation?
Okay.
It is my turn. You're supposed to talk about quantitative study. This time,
Okay,
Margaret.
you're so you look so excited. I understand you, but let me just uh, go through
Thank
uh,
you so much.
the design that I provided here for the quantitative, qualitative, and mixed research methods. We have also a single subject design that actually are uh, suitable for some treatment protocols that are individualized for um, an examinee or a student. It's not that is some educational or treatment protocols that uh, just uh, instruct have some instructions for an individual student or client or patient. So for researching a subject in this way, you need to use a single subject design. Uh, there are some software like R and package like SSD for R. That is SSD for R that use SSD stands for single subject design for R that actually use the regular uh, statistical methods like ANOVA or one-way analysis designed for a single subject, uh, with the difference that now we just sampling the behaviors of a single subject instead of sampling behaviors for a group of students. So yes, this single subject study, they do not say case study because it's not mixed with the qualitative case study. So they say single subject study instead of case study. Case study is a qualitative design, so they just say single subject study for not mixing with the qualitative case study.
I think it's more commonly used in psychology than in our field.
Yes,
Single
the
subject.
psychologists use it more often, and it is very useful for research. They just do easily use this design and publish so many articles based on these methods. They are uh, because psychologists actually uh, treat with some clients, and they are in the treatment profession, the mental treatment profession. So they actually use the SSD for uh, um, researching when they are actually treating the or curing a mental disease or disorder. So actually, the theory and practice and research is actually mixed here, like the action research that are popular in for teachers. The SSD is also popular for doctors, physicians, psychiatrists, psychologists, counselors.
One case to all other, I don't know, patients or whatever. It is hard to generalize the finding.
It is generalizing the behavior for a case. When you the logic of statistical significance in this method is about generalizing about behavior, not for people. For example, um, as it is an experimental design, you are going to actually provide a baseline before the treatment, for example, days or weeks, and after the treatment, during the treatment, you are measures of the subject behavior, and after that, you may want to have a follow-up measurement to find out the, uh, as I said in follow-up, something that is preserved after the treatment or not. And the logic is about sampling for the behaviors of the examinee and generalizing this behavior to the population of the behaviors that the subject have. This is the logic. So the same statistical methods like ANOVA is actually used for this kind of design.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
Next time to say.
So uh, after that, I'm going to divide the other quantitative alternative for non-experimental design. Survey research actually survey in the sense that we are going to just investigate a variable, a quantitative or a discrete variable, and to find out what would be the parameter, the true parameter of the quantitative or discrete variable for the population. So, so some statistics uh, like um, uh, t one sample t-test or chi-square test or binomial test in SPSS can study the status of a variable uh, from the sample for the population. So I just introduced survey in human sciences just for this. If the main problem is to investigate the status of the true parameter for a quantitative or qualitative.
Do you think that data gathered in survey research is first-handed data or second-handed data?
What do you mean by first-handed or second-handed? In survey, you're just using questionnaires. That is question, maybe researcher constructed or some pre-constructed measures that you are using. This is not for first-handed or second-handed. The first-handed or second-handed data is something that is some kind of historical, qualitative historical research methods, or like conversation or discourse analysis. That is uh, um, something that is about the credibility of some qualitative data that is not actually.
I think what she meant is that, for example, I'm investigating mindfulness now. I have other variables. Another time, maybe a year later, I have mindfulness and other variables. And I import those data that were collected with a year ago now to this
It's not what I mentioned. I meant that, well, we are using a scale here, a questionnaire or whatever it is, and it acts as a mediator between me as a researcher and the mind of the subject, the mind of the participant. So the data which I gathered is the first one, the second one, because there is a scale used here in between as a mediator.
You mean that the second-handed is about using a scale or a question?
Right. Yeah. It is
It's it's your point of view. Yeah, it's your point of view. You mean that you are actually comparing this method with qualitative method that you actually when you interview with examinees or it's first-handed or these are some these are there are a heated propaganda for the qualitative and the quantitative methods. These are some propagandas that you should not be actually tricked by the claims that either a qualitative researcher or a quantitative researcher make about the research method. You are actually there are some qualitative researchers that who are trying to disparage actually the quantitative methods, but the quantitative
Good luck with that.
methods researchers are so modest that do not say that the qualitative research is not scientific. They do not, because we have a history that in human sciences that is telling you that you are science because you are using scientific methods, and there is a very horrible fact about qualitative research is that the qualitative research, even it is not a research, it's inquiry.
Oh.
You know that because research has a scientific load for they just we cannot call it research, it's inquiry, and there are actually some values in qualitative and quantitative research that is in contrary with each other. For their values, biases, qualitative judgments. So, uh, because of these heated arguments, more than 7 years of argument about the power of qualitative research is going to revolutionize the human sciences. After 7 years, 8 years, so what happened?
Most of them are still
So what happened? So we have another variation that is mixed methods that tells you that's we are going to actually investigate the phenomenon in human sciences in different perspectives, and we are not going to disparage either methods. You know, that's through the philosophy. You should not be too totalitarian in research. You should know all of them and use all of them and know the advantage and disadvantage of each paradigm, and try not to despise other methods, because we have so many actually powers and weak points in quantitative, qualitative methods that you should consider. Um, okay, good for this session.